Today in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can make use of Vue slots to make your components reusable. We'll see what slots are, and then we'll write some code and use slots, and then you guys can, take a look and see how slots work, how you can use slots in your code and make your components reusable. So let's keep it simple and let's get started. So I've got like a simple plain Vue.js project on StackBlitz. You guys could also go to stackblitz.com and create a blank Vue.js project and use it for your quick prototyping projects or anything you like. So I'm using this because it gives you a quick project setup. Also, you get to see your changes on the right side in the live reload. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, So let's get straight to our topic and get started. So I've got a pretty basic folder structure in which we have got the public folder, the source folder, and a components folder. So in components folder, I've got a file called card.vue. I'm going to delete this file because I want to start from scratch. And in the app .vue file, I've got a very basic boilerplate in which we have got the template, the script tag, and some styling. So let's write something here and see if it's rendering on the right side. Yep, it's rendering. So let's get started. So to get started with, I'm gonna create a component called card.vue. Let's copy this code and paste it in card.vue. Let's remove the style tag. Let's change the name to card and let's remove the ID. Let's keep it simple. Um, I'll type in card here so that we can see if it's getting imported or not. Let's import this component. Let's say import card from /components. Okay, I misspelled it. I think components /card.vue, and let's include it in here. So now we have imported our card. Let's check if it's working. Card. Yeah, so card is working. So the import is working. So let's get started. So let me go to card.vue file. So we've got a very basic setup here. It's not a complex component. Let's do let's create a slot. So to create a slot, you do this. You just type in slot. It's just like an HTML tag, but it's pre-built into Vue.js. And when you type this component here, Vue understands that you want to use the slot. So it's pretty much self-explainable. Like you go to Vue documentation, you check the docs for slots, and then you see it's pre-built and Vue recognizes it when you type in uh, I mean, type in a tag like this, which is called slot. You start a slot like this and you close it. And then, so there are two types of slots. One is the plain slot, which is like a default thing, and the other one is the named slot. So I'm going to start with the plain one because if I'm covering the topic slots, then I think I should cover both of them. So let's start with the normal slot. What we're going to do is, and I'm also going to show you something different here because I want you guys to know the difference between slots and props. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take in some props too. So let's say props title, and title is going to be of type string, and the default, okay, let's not include the default right now because I want you to see what's the difference between slots and props. Let's go to app.view file. Let's see if the prop is being passed. So let's send in title as card title, and in the card.view above the slot I'm gonna say title. Okay, title. So the card title is being rendered here. So let's say if I do something like this and I pass in an h1 tag saying this is a slot. See, I'm passing an HTML tag inside of the card, and this HTML is being rendered in here, which is nothing but a slot. So by default, if I pass anything here, no need to pass in one child, you can pass in multiple also, like div hello. So it's gonna render inside the slot. So slot here takes in the HTML, but the props don't take in the HTML right now because it's not in a context. Props are used differently and slots are used differently. So this is the major difference between slots and props. So props are being passed like this and slots are being used like this. So let's do one more thing here. Let's delete this and no, let's delete this. And you see, if you pass in anything here, it's not going to render there because you haven't provided any slot inside the receiving component. Okay, so if you undo the change and you pass in the slot here, it's going to render whatever is being passed in between the starting and the end tag of that component. Okay, so this is all about the plain slots. Now let's jump on to the named slots. So let me remove title and let me make it simple. Card, and let's do named slots now. So a lot of guys ask me, like, can we have multiple slots or can we have one named slot and one default slot? Yeah, we can have it. So let's do one example of one default slot and one named slot. So let me declare another slot here. The slot is going to be a named slot, and this named slot will have a name of card title. So this slot has a name of card title, and this slot has no name, which means it's a default slot. So if I go here and in the card I say template, and in the template I'm going to pass in the name of that slot. I'm going to copy this name, go back to the main file and paste it here, and here I'm going to say this is a named slot. Save it. You see, it's getting the data uh, from the providing component, and the receiving component here is the card. So I'm passing in two default elements to the default slot and one named slot. So this is the named slot and this is a plain slot. So let's say I change the position of the slot. I move it here. You see, it changes the position also. So the named slot is usually used in the case where you want to pass in some data to a specific position and to a specific place inside a component. So let's say I'm building a card and I want to pass in a header, I want to pass in the card body and a card footer. So in that case, I'm going to create three slots One is going to be the header, the second one is going to be the body, and the third one is going to be the footer. So let's do that. Let's remove the default slot. Let's call this card header. Copy this twice. Let's name it card body, and let's name it card footer. Okay, so this is our card. It has got three name slots: header, body, and footer. Let's go to the providing component where we provide the slots, this card. Let's copy this and paste it 2 times. Let's make it card header. Yeah, card header, card body, card footer. So I'll say this is, I'll not say anything. I'll do this. Card headers are usually bold in size. So let's do an H2 and let's say header, and body is not bold, it has got details and stuff. So do we have this plugin here? No. Let's say a div, and this div is gonna have some text, some random text. This is a random sentence. This is the card header, this is the card body, and now I'm gonna pass in the footer. So in the footer I'll be passing in another div, and in the div I'm gonna say this is the card footer, and now I'm gonna save it. So you see the card has three parts: the header, the body, and the card footer. Let's style it a little so it looks like a card. Let's go to card.view. Let's name this thing as class of card. Let's define a div tag here. Let's say class header, another div tag. Let's wrap these slots into a div tag so that we can assign classes to them and then style those classes. Let's say card dash body, and the footer is going to be card dash footer class card dash footer, right? Let's define a style tag. Let's make this scoped styles, and let's start with the card. The card is gonna have a border of 1 pixel solid light gray. I think this is gonna look good. Yeah, it looks kind of good. And let's give it a border radius of 10 pixels, so it's a little bit curved. Let's do an 8. If you guys want to skip this part, like you don't want to see me making it look good or something, you guys can just skip this part and move to the end of the video. I'm not sure what I'm gonna say in the end of the video, but yeah, you guys can just fast forward this part if you don't want to see me doing this. Border radius is 8 pixels, and let's give it a padding of, let's say, 10 pixels so that it looks just a little nice. Okay, so these should be the basic styles of the card, because it doesn't make any sense if I'm styling the slots in the card. It doesn't make any sense because you're gonna pass in the HTML tags between the slots, and what if some HTML tags have their own styles and you want those styles to be rendered inside here? So it doesn't make any sense to style the slots. Let's say if I say header to be background color red. Okay, let's say I want to pass in the h2 with a background color of blue. So it doesn't make any sense to have predefined styles in the header. And to be honest, we don't need these classes here. Actually, let's remove all the divs. We don't need them here. Let's keep it very simple. Let's keep it like this. Just give the let's give the outer div some styles, basic styles like the border and the stuff like this, and then we can pass in the styles from here also. Okay, so in the style tag, let me say dot card dash body. I'll say background color gray, and I'm going to give this class to card body. You see, it has got the style. Let me say padding of 10 pixels from top and bottom and 5 pixels from left and right, just to make it a little good. And let me uh, let me copy this part and say footer will have a padding of 20 from top and 5 from left and right, and let's give it a class name, class card footer. So this is the card footer, and the header should have let's give it a class name of card header dot card header. I'm not writing neat CSS because I just want to show you the concept of slots, and I'm not into, you know, this video is not into beautifying the card. It's about how slots work. I'm just doing the small CSS changes just to make it look better, a little better, and uh, visually understandable. So card header is gonna have a padding of 0 because I think it's taking up the default padding of the h2 tag. So let's say 5 pixels, or okay, 0 pixels. Okay, header is gonna have a color of blue. All right, so let's do one thing. Let's take this card and paste it again below this, and in this case I'm gonna say header card 2. This is header 2, and header card 2 is gonna be another class which is gonna have a color of green. You see, we reused a card multiple times with different slots, and we passed in some different data to it. So here I can also do this. I can pass in a button with some random name, say click me. You see, so that's how you create a basic structure of a component and give it some basic styles, and then pass in the data or the HTML or whatever you want to pass in to that component using slots. You can also pass in another component inside slots. So let me show you how you can do this. Let's say I create a new file. I say let's say header dot view, And in the header.view, uh, let me take in the code from card, paste it here, delete this thing, delete the props, or let's keep the props. No, let's delete it. I want to keep it simple. Let's delete the styles. Let's remove the class. Let's remove the div actually. Let's make it an h1 tag. Sorry, h1. And this is going to be, actually, let's make it a little more dynamic. Let's take in a prop, uh, prop type string, and let's render the title here. It has a habit of putting in the dot there. Title, the prop, oh, it's going to be title. This type is going to come inside it. All right, props. So I'm going to pass in a prop called title to this header, and it's going to render it inside the h1 tag. Now let's go back to app.view and import that header here. Header from, actually I think this is going to give me an error, but let's test it once. Header.view, because header is an inbuilt HTML tag. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but let's try. Let's give it a try. So in the card header, instead of passing in the h2, I'm going to say header, and I'm going to give it a prop of title. Prop, yeah, it's not going to work. It's not working because header is an inbuilt HTML tag. So I need to rename it. I need to rename it to something else. Let's say app header, and fix the import called app header. And this is going to be app header, and this is going to be app header too. Okay. And now here I'll say app dash header. You see, it's working now. So now I'm passing in a component inside a slot to another component which renders it. So card header is getting a slot which has a component inside it. So how cool is that? Imagine the power of slots and what you can achieve uh, using slots. You can make a numerous amount of components which can be reusable, which have different behaviors. So the most common uh, problem, or we can say a pattern, or we can say a requirement of slots that I've came across in my life whenever I used Vue.js in any of my projects was uh, designing and developing dialog boxes, or we can say modals, or whatever you pronounce it. Modals have a very similar kind of behavior, a repeating behavior where you have a header of the modal and you have a confirm and cancel button, and inside the modal you usually have like a delete message. Are you sure you want to delete this stuff, or are you sure you want to add this thing, or stuff like that. In that case you don't have to define the modal, you know, uh, for each operation, like a confirmation modal, a deletion modal, terms and service modal. Got a lot of modals there. But the thing is that you can use this concept in that modal. You can create one modal, and in that modal you can have like modal title, modal body, and modal footer. And then you can have uh, a footer having OK and confirm button, and then a modal header, and then you can pass in the stuff like that into the modal, and you can use that one modal for multiple purposes there. You don't have to uh, create new components for each and every modal and then pass in different data and have that, you know, spaghetti code and stuff like that. So this is really helpful. This is an amazing feature of Vue.js which you can use in your day-to-day life, in your day-to-day projects, and make things easier for other developers as well as for yourself. And this is a pretty advanced concept. If you're going for interviews as a Vue.js dev, this thing is going to come in the interview. They're going to ask you, have you used slots? How do you use slots? What are named slots? What are default slots? And stuff like that. So guys, I hope you understood the concept of slots. I wasn't focusing on styling and stuff. I was just trying to make you understand how slots work and stuff like that. And I hope you guys got the point. And yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna think about what my next video should be on. I basically focus on uh, core concepts and not the topics of Vue.js, like what is a V4 and stuff like that. I kind of make things practical and try to make you guys understand how you can use stuff in depth. So yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. If you have other friends or colleagues or other mates who are into the same thing, just share the channel, share the video with them, and please subscribe to my channel and give it a like. It would really motivate me to, you know, uh, drop some more videos for you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day.